This is what we discussed in the last class, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
देखिए मन पड़ुଛି. So in your previous class we have discussed about your block diagram of your process control system, and I have given you one example of a process control loop. So we have discussed about this example and your block diagram. Yes or no? That much you remember?
Yes, sir.
What about others?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me what is a plant then? Plant कहले तमे कौन बुझछो? Plant or process कहले कौन बुझछो? Whatever you understand, just tell me.
Any operation which is to be controlled is called process.
It is
Any
operation.
operation.
No, you cannot tell that operation is the process. Okay.
In system which is controlled and gives desired output.
Sir, it's a final control element.
No. Final control element is your valve. Okay. So I have given you an example. So basically, this is a process you can tell. Like a tank, and there is an inlet, there is an outlet. The whole system is generally we call it as the process, or often we generally call it as a plant. So if I am calling it as plant, so whole system should be there, isn't it? So process is generally we can refer it as a plant. Okay. The process means it is the plant. Okay. In which lot of variables will be there, and you are controlling some variable, and you are controlling some variable, and you are getting some control variable, isn't it? So that is the case in case of your process or the plant. Then comes your measurement. In your measurement unit, so you measure the variables or controlled variable through a sensor or transducer and feed it to your error detection block or comparator block. Okay. So then it is passed through your controller. Okay. So in general, controller, it can be a simple computer. Okay. Controller can be simple computer with some software. Okay. So then next is your control element or your final control element. So basically it is valves. Okay. So and this R represent, what is this R? What is this R? It is the set point. It is the set point. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that's what I am summarizing it before, because we have completed in last week. So that's why I am going through it again. Okay. So next we will talk about this controller. Okay. In this module, in this first module, this is what we consider, and controller in general, controller and error detection. Okay. Error detection block is combined. Okay. So in general, that block, two blocks are combined in a single controller. Okay. So we will discuss about this controller. So next, today we will talk about controller principles. Okay. So here in this chapter, let me maximize it. Okay. So don't forget that block diagram. Okay. That is very essential. So never forget that block diagram. Okay. So next we will go for your controller principles. Okay. So here we consider the nature of controller. Okay, controller action for system with operations and variables that range over continuous value. So what we consider over here, what kind of controller we are taking and what kind of action it is taking. Okay, so we will discuss about lot of controller over here. So the controller, what is the input to your controller? So input to your controller is nothing but your in output of your measurement unit. Okay, so output of your measurement unit is, so here you can say output of your measurement unit is fed to your controller. So in practical, controller is constituted of basically error detection and controller. Okay, So measurement unit output is given to your controller, we can say that. Okay, so that is only written over here. The controller input the result of a measurement of the control variable. So what is we are getting in the output, it is the control variable. Similar to your, we have given you the example like room temperature, you are controlling the room temperature. So room temperature is the controlled variable. Okay. Similarly, when you are controlling the height of a liquid in your tank, so that is your control variable. That height is the control variable, and through which parameters you are controlling, that is controlling variable. Are you getting? Can you remember all these things? Controlling variable and control variable? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is the input to your controller? Remember, control input to your controller is, in general, we can say that it is the error. Okay. But practically, what is that? The controller input the result of measurement unit. Okay. And what is it measuring? It is the measurement of controlled variable. Okay. It is the measurement of controlled variable and determines an appropriate output to the final control element. So what it does then? So it take the input from the measurement unit, okay, and do some error detection. All these things will be there, and it will generate some output to control the final control element. Okay. So in general, it is element. Okay. So in general, it is a valve. Okay, so valves in general you will see final control element and valve as a final control element. So always remember valve is a final control element. Okay, so because in this process control you will always come upon that valve thing. Okay, so remember that one. So next is essentially the controller is some form of computer. So in your previous class also I have told you this. So essentially the controller is some form of computer, either it is analog or digital or pneumatic or electronic. Okay. So in general nowadays we are using that digital and mainly electronic controllers. Okay. So it is easy to control. Okay. So that is using input measurement and solve certain equation to calculate proper output. Basically what is there? So this controller is based on, I am giving you that computer is not a controller. So computer there should be some software, okay, controller software, okay. So that is doing the controlling work, okay, and that is based upon some mathematical equations. That is based upon some mathematical equation, okay. So when you give some input, it will, the mathematical equation, it will operate and give you some output. Okay. So what are those equations? The equations is independent of process itself and the controller. Okay. So remember, the equation are not dependent on your process. Okay. It doesn't depend on your process and the controller. Okay. So equations will be there, but it is independent of the process. It is not dependent on the process. Okay. So there is some, will come upon, there is different mode of action and of your controller. Okay, so these equations describe the mode of or action of control operation. Basically, different equation will be there for different mode of action of your control operation. Okay, so if equation changes, your controller action changes. Okay, so first we should understand what are the process parameters. Okay, what is the process characteristic. So first we will study about here we will study about the controller. Okay, so controller will act upon, okay, some process. So we should first analyze what are the process characteristics. Okay, so we should first analyze what are the process characteristics. So the selection of what type of controller mode to be used in a process is a function of characteristic of process. Okay. So what kind of controller we take? So going forward we will come upon different kind of controller or different type of controller and different mode of operation is there. Okay. So what kind of controller we should choose? Okay. We should choose. It is depends on your process characteristic or characteristic of the process. Okay. So here we will, as we go along, we will define the meaning of each mode. Okay, so we'll discuss about each mode and all these things. So the following characteristic of process are helpful in understanding the controller mode and also selection of appropriate controller mode for implementation. Okay, so first we should understand the process. Okay, so next we will go for, so basically here, so it will help you selecting appropriate controller. When you understand a process, okay, it will help you selecting a particular controller. Okay, someone asking something? Is my voice clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir, very clear.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, okay. So when you understand the process parameters or process characteristic, it will help you in selecting a appropriate controller. Okay. So that is there. So next we will discuss about, okay, process equation. Then we will discuss about your process equation. So, so before every time, so mathematical modeling is there. So for that we should understand the process. Okay. So the process control loop regulates some dynamic variable in the process. So we see the process control loop. So that controller, plants, measurement unit, error detection, final control element, it is formed in a loop. So it is basically your control loop regulates some dynamic variable in the process. Okay, so it is regulating some variables. Okay, means your height, your temperature, your flow rate. Okay, all this you are controlling. Okay, this control variable depends on many other parameters in the process. Okay, so I already told you in a process there can be multi-variable process. Okay, so lot of variables should be there. So in general, if you take any process, it is multivariable. Single variable process are very rare. Okay. So here there is a single variable. So in general, we will come upon multivariable process where lot of variables is there. Okay. So the controlled variable means that parameter you are controlling depends on other parameters. Okay, so I will give you one example, then you can understand it properly. Okay, so this controlled variable depends on many other parameters in the process and thus suffer changes from many different sources. Okay, so I am telling that if there is a process, there are 5 to 6 variables. Okay, so all are interlinked. Okay, so if one variable changing, one variable is changing, it will vary other parameters. Okay, so it will vary the other parameters, preferably controlled variable. Okay, preferably controlled variable. So that's what it is doing over here. So if the measurement of control variable, okay, okay, deviated from, okay, so if the measurement of control variable deviates from the set point, then the controlling parameter will change. In this is turn changes the control variable. So what is happening over here? So you control the control variable through your controlling parameter. Okay. So if your set point changes, means I am setting the room temperature to 20 to 25 degree, then you're controlling other parameter like fan speed, other things should be changing so that your desired result should be there. Okay. So your control variable is met your set point. Okay. So we'll take one example of process control loop as shown in your figure 1. Okay. So this is the example. Okay. See this example. So this is a control of liquid temperature in a tank. Okay. So it is the example of your control of liquid temperature in a tank. So see. So temperature here, this TL, liquid temperature in this tank, TL, okay, let's say this liquid is water and this water temperature is your control variable. Means you should maintain that water temperature at certain temperature, let's take 50 degree as per your requirement. Okay, as per your requirement, so TL should be maintained at some set point. Okay, that is your requirement. Okay, so here the control variable is liquid temperature TL. Okay, and this liquid temperature TL, okay, depends on many other parameters. If you see, this is a tank. okay, water tank. So it is depends on many other parameters. For example, if you take the pipe, okay, the input flow rate via pipe A, okay, input flow rate via pipe A, if you take, okay, so it is, what is the input flow rate? It is the QA, isn't it? Okay, where is that pointer? I can see. Just wait a second. Okay, so QA is the input flow rate via pipe A. Okay, so that is one parameter. Similarly, there is the output flow rate through pipe B, that is there. Okay, and then there is a ambient temperature. Ambient temperature means atmospheric temperature, TA is there surrounding this tank. Okay, so ambient temperature, let's take it is 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, so then to hot to increase the temperature of this liquid, there is a steel pipe. It is a, just like this is a steel pipe through which a steamed air is flowing. Steamed air is flowing. Okay, and the temperature of this steamed air is TS. Okay, TS. Another thing is that this water inlet, okay, so I am adding some water, so that water temperature also one parameter, okay, one parameter T0, and also it will also depends on this temperature, steam flow rate, okay, at which rate the steam is flowing through this pipe, okay, is it fast, is it slow, it is at what speed it is flowing through this pipe, okay, steam flow rate, okay. So that is QS. Okay. So in this case, what we are doing, we are considering this QS, this QS as the controlling parameter, is controlling parameter. Lot of variable will be there. Okay. Lot of variable, as we have seen here, lot of variable is there. One is QA, T0, TA, QB, okay, TS and QS. But in general, if you take any system, generally we control the steam flow rate, because the steamed air is heated on certain temperature. Okay, it is heated on certain temperature. So if we increase the speed of that air, okay, flow rate, steam flow rate, okay, the water will boil quickly or temperature will increase rapidly. Okay, if you want to change that water temperature from 50 to 60, we can change by increasing the flow rate. If you want to decrease, so you should decrease the flow rate. Okay, are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Anyone having any issue?
No, sir.
Okay, so understand this, there are lot of variables, okay, which can change the water temperature or controlled variable liquid temperature TL. Okay, lot of parameters are there, but what we are considering, we are considering QS for controlling this temperature only. Rest other parameters we are keeping isolated. Okay, we are not worry about other parameters. What I am doing, whatever might be just water flowing from here, that temperature might be, I can heat it through this flow rate, steam flow rate. Okay, so here we are considering steam flow rate as your QS, as your controlling variable. Okay, so if one of the other variable changes over here, what will happen? So let's say it is 50 degree and this ambient temperature at certain temperature, this T0 at certain temperature, flow rate is constant, Q outlet is also constant. Okay, everything is, you have maintained a certain temperature by maintaining other parameters. Okay, other parameters constant. Okay, now what happened? What happened? Some this, okay, some parameters other than this QS is changed. Let's say this water added, this temperature T naught changes. Okay, so if this water added, which is added, this temperature changes. Let's take this is a cold water added. Okay, so temperature is degraded. So now what you need? You need to speed the flow rate. Okay, or increase the flow rate to maintain the water level at TL, water temperature at TL. Okay, so how we will do it? So that measurement is continuously going through your controller and set point is maintained at, let's say, 50 degree. Okay, if this measurement is anything below that 50 degree, the steam flow rate will increase. Through which? Through this valve will open and flow rate will increase. If what you are adding, water is adding over here, if its temperature is higher, so you need to slow down this flow rate. Okay, so now your controller will observe that you need to slow down this flow rate. So through this valve it will slow down your flow rate. Getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so basically what we are doing over here, to bring the temperature back to the set point value, to bring the temperature, water temperature or liquid temperature back to the set point value, we are only controlling the steam flow rate. Okay, we are not changing. Okay, we are not controlling the other parameters. We are only controlling one parameter, and that parameter will be known as your controlling parameter. Okay, so QS is your controlling parameter, TL is controlled parameter. Okay, so all these things is written over here. Okay, so if you see, the above process can be described by a simple process equation for liquid temperature TL as follows. So how you can describe it? So I am describing it, TL equal to a function of QA, QB, QS, TA, TS and T naught. Okay, QA is input flow rate, QB, yes.
Sir, କହିବ କି sir QS ଟା ହଉଛି independent ଆଉ QA ଟା dependent କହିବ?
No. QS is independent parameters. Okay, you can tell that QA is independent of TL. Okay, but TL is dependent on your other parameters. Okay, all these parameters like y equal to function of x. If y equal to a function of x, so x is independent parameter. Yes or no? Y is your dependent parameter mathematically. What I am saying correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all these parameters. Okay, so all these parameters are independent parameters. Okay, so ambient temperature, that water is coming. Okay, so all these parameters are independent parameters, while this parameter is dependent on all other parameters. But what we are controlling? We are controlling through this QS only. Okay, we are controlling through the steam flow rate only. Okay, so this is there. So next will another thing, remember. So here your job is not to find how it is related to your this controlled TL is controlled variable. Okay, this controlled variable, how it is dependent on the other variables or independent variable or controlling variable. How it is dependent, you are not required to find the equation, it is linearly dependent or non-linearly dependent. Okay, all these things did not known to you. Okay, so basically what happen, if you go to a plant, सेठी कौन हेतिबो, सेठी तमर रिलेशन जाना नथिबो. If you go for a practical plant, सेठी exact mathematical analysis how it is dependent is not known to you. But what is there, by controlling this value, by changing this value, you are able to change this value. Okay, if water temperature anything below the temperature or above the temperature of your set point, so I have set the water temperature to 50 degree. If water temperature is anything below or above that, control action should take place and it should increase the temperature by steam flow rate. Okay, but it is not required how it is related to your liquid temperature. Exact mathematical function may not be there. Okay, getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next we will go for your process load. Okay, next we will go for your process load. Okay, so before going for process load, understand few things. The process equation helps us, okay, providing the set of values of process parameters which results in controlled variable to reach set point. Okay, so the thing is that the process equation helps us. This equation will help us. This equation, okay. The process equation helps us providing the set of values, okay, of process parameter which results in control variable to reach set point. Okay, so what I am telling that, so if I want to make the water temperature at 50 degree, I am setting that ambient temperature. So I am observed that room temperature is 27 degrees. So I am rating that room temperature is 27 degrees. Okay, and water flow rate is this much, outflow rate is this much, this temperature this much. Okay, everything I have written. Okay, I make a chart. Okay, so that is known as your nominal set. Okay, so what is that? The process equation helps us providing the set of values, exact values here, not the variables. Okay, set of values of process parameter which results in controlled variable to reach the set point. So what you are observing here? So you are observing that to reach the set point, what are the process variable parameters? Okay, so what are the values of process parameter? Getting my point? Yes or no? বুঝি পারল?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Nominal set কোউটা কହୁଛି? It is not the variables, it is the values of that variables. Set of values of that variables which will result in controlled variable to reach the set point. जो वाटर टेम्परेचर मु कहली 50 डिग्री रे सेही 50 डिग्री पहुंचा पई ए जो वेरिएबल्स अछि तार वैल्यू केते केते होबा दरकार बुझी परुछो नो डाउट अछि just tell me yes or no so that I will know that you are listening. Okay, everyone is listening or someone कौन पचारछो
माने सर ये जो माने सर डिपेंडेंट माने हां माने ये जो डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स रो वैल्यू देले हमर इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल माने सॉरी माने इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल रो वैल्यू उडा दे देले डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल रो ऑटोमेटिक आसी क्या कहू सर.
yes yes all these are सबु बेले मन रखियो dependent independent first understand then understand what is your controlling variable. Okay, then understand what is the controlling variable. Okay, तो बुझी पारलो एई जो पैरामीटर सेगरा सब इंडिपेंडेंट जो पैरामीटर रहउची. ओके, इन ए वे इट इज इंडिपेंडेंट. ओके, सो एई जो इंडिपेंडेंट पैरामीटर रहउची तार सेट वैल्यू को ओके हमें कोन कहउचे नॉमिनल सेट at which value this control variable reaching the set point. Okay, so say nominal set is different for different set point. Okay, getting my point? Yes or no? First understand nominal set, then I will go forward. What about Swastik? Are you getting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chinmay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is your nominal set. Next is, so the term process load refers to, what is the process load? Process load refers to set of all process parameters excluding the control variable. Okay, so you are reaching 50 by taking all other parameters, let's it is 1, 3, 5, whatever that may be. Okay, so you are reaching the control variable set point by assigning some variable values, okay, values to your independent variable or your system process variables. Okay, so this term process load refers to the set of all process parameters, means all process variable parameters excluding the control variable. Okay, so values of all these things will be known as your process load. Okay, so when all these process parameters have their nominal value, then the load on the system is called nominal load. Okay, load in the system is known as nominal load. Means you are given a set of values and your system is operating on that set of value and your system is achieving your control variable set point. So at that point, that will be known as your nominal load. Okay, so basically all these things are same, but it is just few terms you have to remember. Okay, all the process parameter have their nominal values, then the load on the system is called as nominal load. Okay, so the required controlling variable value under nominal load is called as nominal value of the parameter. Okay, so nominal value of the parameter कहले कौन बुझुछ देखो, एठी सबुर nominal value आसीगला सबु parameter variable रो, ये जो QS रहिला this is your controlling variable, this is your controlling variable, and value of that parameter is known as nominal value of that controlling parameter. Okay, so it is written over this required controlling variable value under nominal load is called nominal value of that parameter. It can be any parameters, that's why it is written as that parameter. तमे जो parameter को controlling variable choose करूछो, okay, तार nominal value केमिति पाइबो जदि तमरो system रे nominal load अछि. Getting my point? Yes, it is few terms only. Okay, so next is if the set point is changed. Okay, if the set point is changed, तम set point एबे थिला केते भाब, always remember one example. Okay, water level जो water temperature जो change करथिलो set point केते थिला, set point let's take 50 थिला, set point तम एबे केते दे देलो 60 दे देलो. Okay, so the control parameter is altered. Yes or no? Control parameter is altered to cause the variable to adopt this new operating point. Okay, but this load is still nominal. काहे कि हमें load को still nominal कहिबे, कारण देखो तमरो set point change हे गला, ए set point change हे गला, rest other parameter is at constant value, but this QS, okay, steam flow rate will increase. Okay, steam flow rate will increase, and after some time it will maintain at constant level to make the water level, water temperature at 60 degree. Okay, it will change, this QS will change according to your set point, but rest other parameter is constant. Okay, जदि तुम set point change करूछ ता पई तमरो controlling parameter रे किछि changes आसुची, still it will be known as your nominal load. Okay, still load is nominal. Okay, बुझी पारलो कंडीशन कोन, सेट पॉइंट चेंज करले तमरो जदि कंट्रोलिंग पैरामीटर रे चेंजेस आसुची सेटा को हम से लोड को से कंडीशन रे हम कोन कहबा, नॉमिनल लोड कहबा. ओके, गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in example figure 1, okay, a process load change can be caused by change in any of the 5 parameters affecting the liquid temperature. Okay, से कोन कहूची एठी QS को छाड़ी रेस्ट 5टा पैरामीटर अछि वेरिएबल. ओके, यदि 5टा पैरामीटर वैल्यू रे चेंजेस आसिला, यदि वेरिएबल रे चेंजेस आसिला ताहले कोन हबो, ऑटोमेटिकली विदाउट चेंजिंग द सेट पॉइंट. ओके, सेट पॉइंट 50 रे अछि 50 रे रहिला. ओके, एटा तमर कंट्रोलिंग वेरिएबल, किंतु एई पैरामीटर किछि भी पैरामीटर ए जो 5टा रेस्ट 5टा पैरामीटर अछि आदर किछि भी चेंजेस आसिला, किछि भी चेंजेस आसीगला, रूम ambient temperature increase करी गला कि flow rate of water जोटा थिला सेटा बढ़ी गला कमी गला. ओके, जोटा वाटर ऐड होउची तार टेम्परेचर बढ़ी गला, एनी केस जदि से कंडीशन आसीला ताहले it will lead to process load change. It will lead to कोन हबो, process load change हबो. केतेबेले process load change होउची, जेतेबेले तमर एई पैरामीटर गुरा रे चेंजेस आस जाउची. ओके, এই টেম্পারেচার ধরো এবে টেম্পারেচার जो वाटर ऐड होची ता टेम्परेचर कमी गला, जो वाटर ऐड होची तार जदी कोल्ड वाटर ऐड हे गला ताले कोन हेबो, ए स्टीम टा फ्लो रेट बढ़ी जिवो. सिंपल एग्जांपल. सो इट इज चेंजिंग ड्यू टू दिस वेरिएशन in these variables, not in the set point. Okay, so that is known as your change in process load. Change in process load. Okay, so when a process load changes, it causes a change in control variable and the process control loop respond to this change. Okay, ताले से कौन करिवो, जदि load change हैला ताले कौन करिवो, it causes changes control variable ले changes करिवो. Okay, control variable ले changes करिवो, सेति पई तमरो control variable ले changes करिया पई तमरो कोन आसीयो, process control loop रे changes आसीयो. Okay, बुझी पारलो? Yes or no? Few terms only. That is your process load. That is very important. Are you getting what is the process loads?
Yes, sir.
Everyone getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, we will go for your transient and process lag. Okay. So another type of change involves a temporary variation of one of the load parameter. After some short period of time, the parameter returns to its nominal value. This variation is called as transient. Okay. So a transient is not a load change because it is not permanent. Okay. So understand what is a transient first. Okay. So it is telling that transient is not a load change. Transient যদি change হচ্ছে ଆମେ କଣ କହିପାରିବାନି? It is not a load change because it is not permanent. Okay. So what happens due to any variation in the system, your system may instabilize for or system parameter may changes for small period of time. Small period of time. Okay. So in your control system you have seen, so any system response defined in response will be transient response, another is steady state response. Okay. If you combine both, then it will constitute your system response. Yes or no? That thing is there. अरे कंट्रोल सिस्टम रे पढ़ी कि नहीं? The system response constituent transient response plus your steady state response. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So transient टा कौन कहूची? Initially system another type of change involves a temporary variation. Okay, it is not permanent. Okay, if there is a variation, it is not permanent, it is temporary. Okay, so after some short interval of time, the parameter return to its original value. So it is a transient thing. It is not load change. You cannot say that it is load change. Okay. So at some point of time, this process load, okay, changes or transient cause a change in the control variable. So what will happen at initial time? At some point of time, initial or if you when transient generally occurs when you change the set point. Okay, remember transient generally occurs where when you change the set point. माने तमर ଯେତେବେଳେ ତମର water temperature 50 ରେ ଅଛି ତମେ set point change କଲା 50 to 60. Okay, that time रे से initial time रे किछि समय ପାଇଁ system transient रे ଯିବ. Okay, so after certain amount of time then your system is stabilized. Okay, so that is what transient is. Okay, so next the process control loop respond to ensure that some finite time later the control variable return to the set point. Okay, the part of this time consumed by process is called as process lag. Okay, so understand at some point of time a process load change or transient causes a change in the controlled variable. Control variable रे केतेबेले चेंजेस आसीबो दीटा कंडीशन रे आसीबो. Okay, one is load change, set point change करलो. Okay, you load change means you change the set point. Okay, और system variable जो load अछि किछि भी changes हेई वाला parameter जो किछि भी parameter change होला कि किछि transient condition आसी होला suddenly जो water टा continuously आसुची ता flow rate कमी होला पुनी it is maintaining at पुनी जो flow rate रे आसुला same flow rate रे आसला जो inlet अछि. Okay, so that is a transient or a load change means permanent change. Okay, so that will what it will cause the variation in controlled variable. Okay, eta kon change karibo tomar jo water level temperature measure houtila taro permanently kichita changes karibo. Okay, so the process control loop respond to ensure that some finite time later the controlled variable returns to the set point value. Okay, the part of this time consumed by the process itself called as process lag. बुझाओ एमिति तमे सेट पॉइंट चेंज कला 50 to 60 डिग्री इंस्टेंटली तो तमे जो फ्लो रेट बढ़ाई देलो तमे केमि 50 to 60 केमिति एडजस्ट करिवो यू विल इंक्रीज द steam flow rate. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you will increase the steam flow rate. So steam flow rate you increase करियो जो time रे increase करियो suddenly at that instant तमरो से जो water level temperature 50 अछि it will be become 60. No, it will take some time. Yes or no? It will take some time to heat up. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that is the it will take. Yes.
सर ट्रांजिएंट रे कोन माने वेरिएबल ता माने अलगा टाइप रो चीज बिहेवियर देखाय ना कोन सर
ट्रांजिएंट सेटा कहूची ट्रांजिएंट फास्ट जिंस बुझ ट्रांजिएंट इज नॉट परमानेंट ओके ट्रांजिएंट कहले ए बुझियो ट्रांजिएंट इज वेरिएशन ट्रांजिएंट इज नॉट परमानेंट ओके इट विल चेंज फॉर सम टाइम देन इट विल बिकम टू जो वेरिएबल पैरामीटर थिला सी पैरामीटर आसी सेट हे जियो ओके जो वेरिएशन थिला सिस्टम रो सेट पॉइंट जदी तमरो लोड रो वैल्यूज जहां भी थिला लोड रो वैल्यू पुणी सेम आसी गला ओके जदी जो पॉइंट रे से चेंज हैला जो पॉइंट रे चेंज हैला से तमरो कंट्रोल वेरिएबल ले चेंजेस आनी दबो यस और नो ओके जो टाइम रे चेंज होबो से टाइम रे से कंट्रोल वेरिएबल ले चेंजेस कर दबो ओके जदी भी तम प्रोसेस लोड तमे चेंज करलो ताहाले भी तमरो कंट्रोल वेरिएबल ले चेंज होबो जदी तम कंट्रोल वेरिएबल ले चेंज होउची it will in general in practical if you see it will not change instantly okay it will not change instantly I would तुमको एग्जांपल दोउची observe from this गोटे long pipe अछि गोटे long pipe अछि of 1 meter okay तमे तार गोटे एंड रु तार फ्लो रेट कंट्रोल करूछ okay now flow rate is let's take 2 meter cube per second okay 2 meter cube per second गोटे एंड रे अछि ओके जत्ते बेले मु सेट पॉइंट चेंज करली टू 3 मीटर पर सेकंड गोटे कंट्रोलर थ्रू रे मु चेंज ता कंट्रोल करछि लेट्स से 3 मीटर पर सेकंड से पाइप रो अपोजिट एंड रे से इंस्टेंट रे मु से जो 3 मीटर पर सेकंड को ऑब्जर्व करि परिबी की दैट्स व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग करि परिबी यस और नो मु क्वेश्चन बुझी पारलो यस और नो
सर
देखो you take a long pipe of 1 meter let's take there is a long pipe okay सेटी पाइप रे गोटे वाटर फ्लो रेट मेंटेन रहउची 2 मीटर क्यूब पर सेकंड रे ओके तादर जो वाटर फ्लो रेट जाउची 2 मीटर क्यूब पर सेकंड रे वाटर फ्लो करूची ओके सो तमे कोन कलो तार कंट्रोल जो करूचो गोटे एंड रे वाल्व लागिची सेई एंड रे वाल्व रो कोन कर देलो ओपन कर देलो थ्रू एनी कंट्रोलर तमे जे कोनसे कंट्रोलर थ्रू ताको कंट्रोल करो आ वाल्व ताको दे कहलो जे एबे 2 मीटर नहीं मते 3 मीटर पर सेकंड रे दरकार ओके तमे जदी वाल्व फ्लो रेट को इंक्रीज कर देलो 2 मीटर टू 3 मीटर ओके जोटा वाटर फ्लो रेट फ्रॉम 2 मीटर टू 3 मीटर तमे चेंज कर देलो इज इट गोइंग टू ऑब्जर्व इन द ऑपोजिट एंड इंस्टेंटली से इंस्टेंट रे जो इंस्टेंट रे तमे चेंज करला से इंस्टेंट रे आसीबो की यस और नो it will take some time okay the water will take some time to go from one end to other end getting my point so that is your basically your process lab okay so basically remember there is different type of lag will come across so basically understand what is a process lag okay so this process will require some time to meet the set point value of your controlled variable okay so that is known as your process lag okay so a significant characteristic of some processes is the tendency to adopt the specific values of the control variable for nominal load with no control operation. This control operation may be significantly affected by such self-regulation. Okay, so I have explained you self-regulation in your first class. Yes or no? Self-regulation eti meaning kon कहूची देखो a significant characteristic of some process, kichiro process is the tendency to adopt a specific value, of controlled variable, for nominal load. Okay, load parameter jadi kichi particular value re achi, nominal load re achi, with no control action bi tame kichi nau no. Okay, it will maintain at certain control variable. ତମକୁ ମୁଁ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦଉଛି, ଏଇ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ଆମେ ପଢିଥିଲେ, ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ଆମେ we have studied the
water q out equal to q in ଯେତେବେଳେ ହବ ସେତେବେଳେ ଯେତେବେଳେ q out equal to q in ହବ ସେତେବେଳେ
just wait a bit. Okay, so thing is that okay, where was I? Okay, this process ତମେ ଯଦି ଏଇ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ରେ ରିମେମ୍ବର କରିଥିବ, ମୁଁ ତମକୁ କଣ କହିଥିଲି, ଯଦି q in particular ଗୋଟେ flow rate ଗୋଟେ particular value ରେ ଅଛି, q out ବି ତମର ଗୋଟେ particular value ରେ ରହିବ, ତାହେଲେ it will maintain some certain height. So it is a self regulating process. Can you remember?
yes sir.
Yes or no? ମନ ରଖିଛ ନା ଭୁଲି ଗଲଣି? ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ହେଇଥିଲା।
yes sir.
So କଣ ହେଲା, q in ଯଦି କେତେବେଳେ ସର୍ଟନ ହାଇଟ୍ ରହିବ, ଯେତେବେଳେ q in equal to q out ଏଇ କଣ୍ଡିସନ ଟା ସାଟିସ୍ଫାଇ କରିବ, ତାହେଲେ ସେଇଟା ୱାଟର ଲେଭେଲ ଟା ଗୋଟେ ସର୍ଟନ ହାଇଟ୍ ରେ ରହିବ। ଓକେ, ସର୍ଟନ ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ଏଠି କିଛି କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲର ଲାଗିଛି କି ନା? So ଏଠି controlled variable h will maintain at certain height. Yes or no? So that is the self regulation process. So the process of adopting stable value of control variable under nominal load without regulation is called self regulation. ତମେ ଏଠି କିଛି ରେଗୁଲେସନ କରୁନ, under nominal load means ଏଇ ଯୋଉ एग्जांपल देली, ଏଠି ଯଦି 2 मीटर क्यूब पर सेकंड ଅଛି, ଏଠି ଯଦି q out will maintain 2 meter cube per second. Okay, then it will maintain some certain height. I don't know what is the height, but it will maintain some certain height. Okay, getting my point? So that is your self regulation. बुझी पारलो what is self regulation?
yes sir.
So basically we have covered it in your first class only. Okay, so this is your control system block diagram. I have given you this block diagram. Okay, so that is your set point is R or input is R, error is R minus B. B is the output of your measurement unit. Okay, so next will be your controller, and controller output is T. Okay, so it is working upon your this error signal. So in practical I have told you controller and this coming
question.
Yes. What you are telling?
ଜଣେ chat box ରେ question.
Okay. Chinmay sir, it is different between transient. Okay, what is the basic difference between transient and process lag? So transient is very different from your process lag. Yes or no? Transient will constitute, or it is a parameter which will contribute in your process lag. କେତେ ଟାଇମ ନେଲା ଦେଖ, ତମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ପଢିବ ତମେ ଏକ୍ସାକ୍ଟଲି ଦେଖିବ। ଓକେ, ସେଟଲିଂ ଟାଇମ, ଅଲ୍ ଦିସ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗସ୍ ୟୁ ୱିଲ୍ ସି। ଓକେ, ତମେ ସେଠି ଦେଖିବ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ଲ୍ୟାଗ କଣ। ପ୍ରୋସେସ ଲ୍ୟାଗ କଣ? ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷ ବୁଝ ଯେ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ୍ଡ ଭେରିଏବଲ ରେ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ ପାଇଁ, କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ୍ଡ ଭେରିଏବଲ ର ପାରାମିଟର ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ ପାଇଁ, ଲେଟ୍ସ ମୁଁ 50 ରୁ 60 ଭ୍ୟାଲ୍ୟୁ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କଲି, ଟେମ୍ପରେଚର ନା ମୁଁ କଣ କହିଲି 60 ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ସେଲସିୟସ ରେ ରହିବ। जो मुझे जो वेरिएबल चेंज कली सेटा को मीट करिया पई, कंट्रोल वेरिएबल मीट करिया पई जे प्रोसेस जति को टाइम नंबर सेटा हला कोन प्रोसेस लैग। सिंपल वर्ड रे बुझी परलो सेटा प्रोसेस लैग। यस और नो?
yes sir.
Are you getting? So what is transient then? Transient is not process lag. Transient कोन कहि छि मु, transient तमरो जदी भी transient कोन तमरो lot of different variables are there. किछि भी variable किछ temporary variation आसुची, किछि भी वेरिएबल रे किछि टेम्परेरी वेरिएशन आसुचे ड्यू टू दिस तमर कोन हेई पारे ड्यू टू दिस तमर कंट्रोल वेरिएबल रे स्मॉल चेंजेस आसी पारे okay and that variation is not permanent so it will take some time to settle so that is that parameter will constitute in your process lag but transient is not process lag okay transient rahile tomar process lag increase karibo if there is more transient process lag will be more remember that one getting my point
ट्रांजिएंट जदि रहइबनी ताले प्रोसेस लैग इंक्रीज हेइयो
if there is no transient process lag will be small simple जदि सिस्टम तमर स्टेबल अछि रिजल्ट तमर आउटपुट आसिया पई बहुत जल्दी हबो ओके जदि तमर सिस्टम रो अनस्टेबिलिटी ओके ट्रांजिएंट somewhat bring the system towards vibration you can tell that vibration or instability not exactly instability it will vibrate your system it will force your system to vibrate around certain value okay so that will constitute in process lag but transient is not process lag okay so every parameter सब system जदि ये सब parameter जदि transient will definitely have certain hand in your process lag but it is not that getting my point yes or no
Yes, sir.
okay so next is your control system parameters okay so if okay I'll skip that part because it is basically your control system and you are going to study in there only so control system parameters these things are known to you okay so I'll directly go for this error okay this e okay this error is generally this error is r this set point minus your measurement block output why because this set point is 50 I am telling that set point is 50 so process temperature should be 50 okay so this measurement will give in it electrical formula okay so if your output is r minus b okay your output error is r minus b if there is some error then it is controlling action should take place if there is no error controller action need not to be take place okay so when r will matches to your c okay r will matches to your c then this error is 0 okay so next is so this deviation of control variable from the set point is called error okay this deviation of control variable from the set point is called as error okay so it is given as e equal to r minus b e equal to r minus b r is the set point of the variable b is the measured value of the variable okay so don't confuse all these parameters are in general it is in electrical format okay so e equal to error b is the measured value of your variable r is the set point value okay so to describe controller operation in general way or in your percentage span okay it is better to express the error as percentage of measured variable range okay so that formula is ep equal to r minus b divided by b max minus b mean into 100 okay so where b max is maximum value of measured variable and b mean is minimum value of measured variable okay so we'll see one example and understand from that only okay so the temperature in figure 1 okay this temperature in figure 1 has a range of 300 to 450 K okay and your set point is 384 K so what it is asking find the percentage of span error when the temperature is 379 okay so what is it telling the temperature range is 300 to 450 K. So it can maintain the temperature in between 300 to 440 K. But your set point is to maintain the temperature at 384 K. So what it is asking, calculate the percentage of span error when the temperature is 379 degree. So your set point is 384, but your actual result is 379. So what is the span error? Okay, so EP equal to R minus B, okay, 384 minus 379 divided by what is the span? Okay, so it is max is 440 minus 300 into 100. So your span error is now 3.6%. Okay, your span error is 3.6%. Okay, getting this equation solution? বুঝিপারলে
Yes,
এবার?
sir.
Okay. So next is your variable range. Okay, next is your variable range. So simply understand the variable range can be expressed as minimum and maximum value of the variables. So as the name suggests, you can imagine that. So room temperature can vary to, I can say that it is can vary to 20 to 40 degree in general. It can vary. So minimum value will be 20, maximum value will be 40. So where there is an industry, so that value should be known to you. Okay, so you should know what are the variables and what are all the parameters. You should understand that. Okay, so and maximum and minimum value of these variables. Okay, so what can change the variable, how much it can change. Okay, you should understand all these things. So that is your variable range. Okay, so next is your control parameter range. Control parameter range. Okay, so control parameter range is the range associated with the controller output. Controller output. The final control element has some minimum and maximum effect on the process. Okay, final control element has some effect on your process only. Okay, so the controller output range is the translation of this statement is very important. This controller output range is the translation of output to the range of possible values of the final control element. Okay, এটা কাହାର ট্রান্সলেশন जो कंट्रोलर आउटपुट जाउची से काहा को कंट्रोल करूची तो फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रो आउटपुट को कंट्रोल करूची. Okay, yes or no? In a way your final control element is controlled by your output of your controller. Yes or no? Yes, am I audible? Okay, understand this. देखो तुम्हारा controller, okay, what it is controlling? It is controlling a final control element, and that final control element is controlling your process, like your speed and all these things. Okay, so final control element is valves. Okay, তুমি এইটিকে দেখি পারো তো এটি ଗୋଟେ final control element valve লাগিଛି. Okay, so generally this flow rate is controlled through your valve only. Okay, so your valve has directly effect on the process. Valve has directly effect on your process. So control output range is the translation of your output to change or output to the range of possible values of final control element. माने से जो valve opening closing होउची, let's take controller output range मु गोटे सेट कली 0% to 100%. से सही रेंज रे भ्यारी करि परिबो. ओके, सो सिमिलरली तार जे जो भले आउटपुट रेंज रहिबो, सिमिलर टू दैट दिस फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रो रेंज भी मु कहि परिबी गोटे सर्टेन रेंज रो गोटे सर्टेन रेंज रहि परिबो. यदि मु 0% रखिली कंट्रोल एलिमेंट फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रो ओपनिंग दिस मच हबो. जदि मु 50% रखिली फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रो ओपनिंग दिस मच हबो. If I take it 100%, this final control element or valve will open fully like that. Okay, so controller output range is directly translation of your final control element output. Okay, ଦେଖ ସବୁବେଳେ ମନେ ରଖ, ବୁଝିପାରିଲ ଏଇ ପଏଣ୍ଟଟା? yes or no?
The translation of output to the range of possible values of the final ମାନେ କିଛି ବୁଝିଗଲାନି।
ଆରେ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେସନ ମାନେ କଣ? ତମେ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ରୁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ରୁ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେସନ କରୁଛ ମାନେ କଣ? ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ଦ ସେମ ଥିଙ୍ଗ। ସେ ଜିନିଷ କଣ, ତମର ଆଉଟପୁଟ, ତମକୁ ରିକ୍ୱାରମେଣ୍ଟ କଣ ଅଛି? ଫାଇନାଲ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ ଏଲିମେଣ୍ଟ और ଭାଲ୍ଭ କୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ କରିବା। ସିମ୍ପଲ। ଭାଲ୍ଭ କୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ ତମେ କାହା ଥ୍ରୁରେ କରୁଛ? କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲର ଥ୍ରୁରେ। ସୋ ମୁଁ କହିପାରିବି ଭାଲ୍ଭ ର ଓପନିଂ ଆଣ୍ଡ କ୍ଲୋଜିଂ, ଆଉଟପୁଟ ଭାଲ୍ଭ ର କଣ? ଓପନିଂ ଆଣ୍ଡ କ୍ଲୋଜିଂ ଇଜ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ୍ଡ ଥ୍ରୁ ୟୋର କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲର ଆଉଟପୁଟ। yes or no? So that is only the translation. That is the statement written over here. The controller output range is the translation of the output तमर final control element केमिति change होउची सेटा कहा ऊपर डिपेंड करूची? controller output range, and it is directly proportional to your final control element changes. Okay, से केते range of possible values जोटा change करूची, okay, that is depend on your controller output. Okay, so next is, so generally the output is expressed as a percentage where 0% is minimum and controller output and 100% is maximum. So basically controller output is 0% or 100%. Okay, so देखो मैं तुमको previous class रे भी कही थी, here if you see, so controller output range मु कौन कहूची, so it is set to 4 to 20 milliampere. Current if you take in standard practice, the controller output range will be 4 to 20 milliampere range. Okay, it is not 0 to 20 milliampere or 0 to some other current. In general, the standard practice is the controller output is 4 to 20 milliampere. Okay, so that is your 0 in between that range. Okay, in between that range, I am considering that if 4% is there, controller output is 0%. If 100% is there, controller output is, or 20 milliampere output is there, it is 100%. According to that, if I vary, it is 0 to 100%. Okay, so the controller output as a percentage of full scale, when the output varies between specified limit are given by, so it is limit, it is not varying from 0 to 20. Okay, so minimum value is there. So what is the percentage opening or percentage output of your controller? So U is the output, U is the output. Let's say your controller output is 10. Controller output is 10. Okay, so now calculate what is the percentage of controller output. If you consider this controller current is 4 to 20 milliampere, now I am telling that controller output is 10 milliampere. So calculate what is the percentage output of your controller. Everyone calculate. Can you calculate? Yes or no?
14 into 100.
What will be that value?
Numerator 6, denominator 14 into 100.
Into 100. Okay, so if you calculate, it will give you what is the percentage output of your controller. Okay.
So 42.85%.
Okay. What value may be that, but first understand what is the controller output. Okay, so I can tell that controller output is now 42%. So it should act, if I make the controller output at that current value, your controller or your final control element, okay, should vary from its initial condition to final condition. Okay, if it have, initially it is half open, initially it is half open. तमे जदि practically गोटे देखिबो गोटे pipe रे, it is not that if controller output is 0%, don't think that your valve is closed. Don't think that. Okay, means जदि मते गोटे constant flow rate मते requirement अछि, constant flow rate requirement अछि, सेही हिसाब रे मोर कोन होतबो, valve गोटे certain position रे थिबो initially. Getting my point? Valve initially closed नथिबो कारण गोटे प्रोसेस चली छी, there is no error, there is no error. ताले कोन अछि मु कहूची जे जदि मते गोटे वाटर फ्लो रेट मेंटेन करियार अछि मु भाल्व टाको 50% ओपनिंग रे रखी छी बुझी पारिला यस और नो जदि मु ताको 50% ओपनिंग रे रखी छी रेस्ट 50% ओपनिंग should be controlled through this 0 to 100%. এই जो कंट्रोलर आउटपुट 0 to 100% वेरिएशन ताको कंट्रोल करिवो भाल्व रो 50% ओपनिंग टू नै कि 100% ओपनिंग जाए कंट्रोल करिया दरकार दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नोन एज द ट्रांसलेशन बुझी परुछ ना कंफ्यूज होउछ Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What about others? बुझी पारुछ ए पॉइंट ता जानी था हला otherwise you will get confused. Are you getting my point? Everyone? Soumya?
Yes. सर ये जो परसेंटेज टा कैलकुलेट करले सर वैल्यू दे देखिबो सेटा बाहर करबा
देखो मु कोन कहली कंट्रोलर आउटपुट कैन वेरी फ्रॉम 4 टू 20 मिली एम्पियर यदि कंट्रोलर आउटपुट 10% 10 मिली एम्पियर रे अछि ताले कंट्रोलर आउटपुट केते परसेंट रे अछि सिंपल ओके यदि मिनिमम वैल्यू तमरो 0 रे नाही तो दैट फार्मूला शुड बी लाइक दैट जति की अछि डिवाइडेड बाय मैक्स एंड मिनिमम शुड बी माइनस द बेसिक फार्मूला ओके यदि मिनिमम तमरो एटा वेरिएशन 0 टू 20 ही तांदे तमे ताले कोन करतांदो ताले 10 डिवाइडेड बाय 20 दैट विल बी 50% बुझी परुछ बट योर मिनिमम इज नॉट 0 ओवर हियर योर मिनिमम इज 4 मिली एम्पियर ओके बुझी पारलो
यस सर
सो सेति पई तमे भाबिबोनी जे कंट्रोलर आउटपुट जदी 0 अछि भाल्व जो अछि कंट्रोल करूची दैट इज ऑफ स्टेट ओके so next is your control lag and dead time and cycling with this we will complete and we will go for your controller mode in your next class okay so one thing we have discussed previously is your process lag is due to your process रे changes पे जो सब time लागुची सेटा हमर कोन कहिबा टैंक रे टेम्परेचर लिक्विड रो प्रॉपर्टीज नै ये सब पई जोटा चेंजेस टाइम लागु जे सेटा हमें कोन कहू छे प्रोसेस लैग बट व्हाट इज कंट्रोल लैग देखो कंट्रोल लैग रेफर्स टू द टाइम फॉर प्रोसेस कंट्रोल लूप टू मेक द नेसेसरी एडजस्टमेंट टू द फाइनल कंट्रोल लूप ए जो ब्लॉक डायग्राम अछि तमर ए प्रोसेस रे तमर एठी कोन हला सेट पॉइंट धर 50 अछि प्रोसेस रे किछि चेंज हे गेला ओके प्रोसेस रे किछि चेंज हे गेला सो सेटा मेजरमेंट ब्लॉक थ्रू रे जाई कंट्रोलर थ्रू रे जाई प्रोसेस पाखरे जीवा पई प्रोसेस पाखरे पहुंचबे पई नॉट प्रोसेस केते टाइम नउची नॉट दैट ओके ई लूप रे आउटपुट जीवा पई जो टाइम टा लागु छी ताको हमें कोन कहिबा कंट्रोल लैग so control lag refers to the time for the process loop okay to make the necessary adjustment to the final control element तो final control element रे नेसेसरी एक्शन करिया पई जति टाइम लागु छी सेटा को हमें कोन कहू छे कंट्रोल लैग ओके फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रे चेंजेस हे गला तापर तमरो इंस्टेंटली तमरो आउटपुट रे चेंजेस आसीला ना ओके आउटपुट रे संक्शन चेंजेस आसीला ना सो दैट इज डिफरेंट दैट इज योर प्रोसेस लैग प्रोसेस पे जोटा लेट लागिवो और टाइम लागिवो सेटा प्रोसेस लैग तमरो ई लूप पे जोटा टाइम लागु छी दैट इज योर कंट्रोल लैग अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट इज कंट्रोल लैग एंड प्रोसेस लैग
यस सर तो ये जो फाइनल कंट्रोल एलिमेंट रे चेंजेस माने को टाइप चेंजेस
भाल्व रो ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग एठी जदि मु कहिली ए भाल्व रो ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग पई देखो एठी प्रोसेस पर गोटे भाल्व अछि ओके एठी गोटे एरर डिटेक्ट से कला एरर डिटेक्ट कला कोन कला जे एठी 50 तमे देइछो एठी प्रोसेस रे टेम्परेचर अछि 40 so it is detected by the measurement so for this measurement it will take some time For this control action, it will take some time. Then it will go to your final control element, and it will change the control element. Control element valve opening or closing ko se increase karibo as per your requirement. Okay, so that is this loop. Okay, time taken for this loop is known as your process lag. Control lag. Okay, so next is your dead time and cycling. Okay, next is your dead time and cycling. So dead time is the elapsed time between your deviation error occurred and when the corrective action first occurred. Okay, and this dead time is a function of both process and process control system. Okay, means this dead time is basically a function of control lag as well as your process lag. Dead time कौन कहूचे? जे dead time is the elapsed time between your deviation of error occurred and when the corrective action first occurred. Corrective action first occur हवा तमे valve opening कर देला, but it is corrective action है ही वाला की ना. It will take some time to adjust the process. Process से जो control variable अच्छी सेटा को पे किसी time लगी. So all these parameter will constitute dead time. Okay, so that is your dead time. Dead time basically कौन जे कितने टाइम नौची पैरामीटर तुम जो सेट पॉइंट चेंज कलो जो टाइम टा नौची सेट पॉइंट जो चेंज कलो कि तमरा जो एरर आसिला ताको एडजस्ट करिया पे कितने टाइम जाउची. सो दैट इज योर डेड टाइम. ओके, मींस सिस्टम इज नॉट system output is not reaching your set point in between that time. So that is your dead time. Okay, means system is sleeping. Okay, you can consider that. So next is your cycling. Cycling is defined as the oscillation of error about zero value. This means your variable will cycle above or below. This is a problem in your control system. When cycling will occur, means what will happen, your error will be either increase. Cycling means it will be sinusoidal. Okay, it will sometime it will plus, sometime it will minus, then plus, then minus, then plus, then minus. Okay, if that will occur, your output will go on oscillating. Okay, so cycling should not be there and cycling should die down. Okay, so that thing is there. So first understand this lags and dead time, it is very essential. Next we will go for your controller mode. So if you have any doubt you can ask me, otherwise I will take the attendance. Okay, with this time required to make the error at summing point is control lag. No. Chinmay, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so time required to make error at the summing point is not the control lag. To flow from one end to other end. That's what I am telling you. तमे कोई परिवन जे error detection पे it will take some time, minimal time. 80 measurement हबो 8 to start हैला, error रो 8 to start हैला. 40 एबे तमरा 50 रे 80 सेट करछो 80 40 हैला. Okay, so it should measure, the measurement unit should measure that. सी पैरामीटर दबो तम एरर ब्लॉक डिटेक्ट करिवो, कंट्रोलर ब्लॉक डिटेक्ट करिवो एंड कंट्रोल एलिमेंट ऊपर एक्शन नबो. ओके, सेति की जति टाइम लागियो सेटा को हम कंट्रोल लैग कहि परिया. एंड इट इज इन योर प्रोसेस कंट्रोल लूप पई तमर जोटा टाइम लागुची सेटा तमर कंट्रोल लैग. ओके, एंड दिस प्रोसेस ए प्रोसेस ऊपर सेटा इफेक्ट पडिया पे जोटा टाइम लागुची मु सेटा कोन कहबी प्रोसेस लैग. एंड सब जाको जति मिक्स कर दबो ताले not exactly adding, but both things, because it is not a single process. Okay, तो मैं further जेतबे जानिबो it is a cyclic process. Means देखो एटी कोन हुए 40 डिग्री आसिला. Okay, so 40 डिग्री को तमे एटी कोन कहला जे टेंपरेचर इंक्रीज करो. Okay, so now it will become 45. It will directly at 50 hapon, 40 to 41 hour, 41 to 42 hour. So continuous cycle will be there. Okay, getting my point. So it is not a single cycle. Single cycle है तुम्हारा error मने set point match to करियो. It will take some time. So continuous cycle will be there. Okay. Okay. So my voice is audible, right? Properly audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we should stop here, and if you have any doubt, you can others should ask some questions. What about others? Hmm? You are not understanding, or you are just sitting silently? What about others? Jagdish, Satyasundar?
Yes, sir.
বুঝি পড়ছো?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will give you the notes, and I will give you that book as well. Okay, I will have the soft copy of that Scottish junction. So I will try to share it with you. If you have any doubt, you can also refer that book. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So should I go for that attendance, or anyone having any doubt?
স্যার এই যে কন্ট্রোল ভ্যারিয়েবলটা নমিনাল সেট ভিতরে আসবে না নেই
Control
ভ্যারিয়েবল
control variable not coming under your nominal set. Okay. Leaving that. Okay.